What's up, YouTube? This is Jarrell Damp here. I'm still alive. I'm still making videos and stuff. I have not forgotten about you guys, even though it's been forever. Life comes at you fast. Sometimes you don't always have time to sit down and record what you're doing. But I got a new video today, so I hope some of you guys are still around enough to watch it and check it out. I wanted to make a video about what I'm working on today and probably for the next couple weeks. I'm working on a comics portfolio, and it's going to be featuring a Mega Man story that I wrote, just a 4-page story. And so I want to show you guys my process of going from sketching to thumbnails to final layouts and then to finished pages. So I don't have any finished pages at the moment, but I am almost done with my layout phase, and so we're probably just going to be focusing on the first page today, just so you guys can get an idea of what it is I do and how I go about doing the work. So before I make a comic book page, you can kind of see my whole desk here. I start out with a series of sketches. I then make a thumbnail of the story that I'm doing. These are 3 thumbnail pages, and then I take those thumbnails, for example page 1, and I carry them over to a final layout phase, which is a little bit bigger. Actually, it's a lot bigger than the thumbnail phase. So my thumbnails are all about 6 by 9 centimeters, and my final layout is about 13 by 26 centimeters. That way I can blow it up to double the size when I'm ready to do the final pencils, and it can be blown up on a big comic book page. Because the 11 by 17 pencil art is what we put in portfolios. So anyway, I went over them kind of lightly before, but I'm going to go into detail about each little step. So I have my sketchbook here, and this is the one I've been working on. And basically I sketch, I loosen up, I try to do a warm-up sketch before I do any main work, and it helps me to kind of loosen up my hands, loosen up my drawing muscles, and kind of get things going in my mind. And helps me to set the tone, all that good stuff. None of these characters are actually going to be in my portfolio, but it's just fun messing around with shapes and exaggeration and caricature and goofy stuff like this to loosen up. I do all these with a pen, so pen helps you to keep things kind of loose, not a lot of pressure. You don't really care about what happens, and yeah. So those are my sketches. I then go to the thumbnails. Now, an artist that was giving me advice told me that our mind visually works in thumbnails. We process things on a much smaller level visually, and so it helps to plan things out on a smaller level before we blow it up to the big level that we're used to seeing things. So I don't know if you guys can see some of the posters on my wall here. We got some Spider-Man posters, Captain America. These posters didn't start out being these 3-foot posters and gigantic pieces of art. They started out on a small level and they blew them up, after editing them digitally and stuff like that. So that's the idea. Like I said, we're going to be kind of focusing on the page 1 thumbnail today. And the first page of a portfolio is kind of set to do a number of things. One, you want to establish who your character is and where he's at. Like I said, my character is going to be Mega Man. I really tried to use one of the main Marvel or DC characters for my portfolio, but it really was like, it felt like torture. It felt like my style was kind of being choked trying to do Spider-Man, even though he's like my favorite, or trying to do Batman. I really felt like I was in a Mega Man kind of mood, so that was my decision behind this. So if you observe here, there's not a lot of differences between the layout for page 1 and the actual page 1 final layout. I do all these with blue pencil because it's easy to scan them in and draw over them, and your artwork doesn't get lost kind of in all the lines. It helps me to prioritize what I want on the page and what I don't, and it's easy to kind of single out. So these are all in blue line pencil for those of you who want to know. This is a Col-Erase pencil. So as you can see, the first couple panels in this page are empty. And there's a design choice behind that. I wanted to show Mega Man in kind of this Arctic wasteland area, and so I wanted to leave these 2 panels empty, lifeless. There's nothing, in either direction from a far distance, and it's like, why is Mega Man in this place where nothing else is at? But there's got to be a reason why he's there, and so he's in the third panel. And so we have this this Arctic kind of valley stretching out before him, before we move on to the fourth panel where he raises his Mega Buster, so we know that something is coming. The fifth panel and the last panel of the first page is a worm's eye shot between Mega Man's legs, him looking forward at this fin that's approaching out of the snow. And so, he knows what's coming, and it's kind of setting the reader up for and establishing what's going to be happening on the second page. So we have an establishing shot, I establish my hero, and I'm also setting up a rising action for the event that the portfolio is going to have. Another thing I try to do here is to set up my page compositionally to be easy to read. What I mean by that is that I want all of my pages to feature a kind of a swoop in their design. There's probably a more legit name for that, but I call it a swoop, and if you figure out what it's actually called, you can call it that. Which is why we actually design pages in mass. It's not like I do layout for page 1 and then I do the final layout for page 1. I like to lay out a couple pages at once so that I can tell if the story kind of flows together or not, if the shots work together well, and if they can be used together, because you can have several good looking pages, but if they don't look good together, then it's like, what's the point? So all of my pages I want to feature kind of an S-curve that leads the eye of the reader from this end to this end. So my goal with page 1 was to start here at the hill, to have the reader's eye be led to Mega Man, to be able to look down, follow Mega Man's foot to the fourth panel where you see his head and his raised Mega Buster. The Mega Buster then leads you to the final panel where you get both of his legs wrapping around here until it flows off of the page. The next page I do will be right next to it, and so this flow is going to carry us into the second page, where again our eyes start at the top left and we read it this way. And for the third page it'll be the same. It's kind of this swoop. And what that does is it keeps the flow consistent and it keeps it easy to read. Having your actions be easy to read is one of the most important aspects of storytelling. I don't know if I'm doing these things correctly, but I'm kind of walking you guys through my thought process on what I'm trying to do. So as I get better at it, there will be better examples to show. But these are the things that I think about when I'm making a comic book page. I had a different idea completely for page 2, and page 1 and 3 I thought were really cool. The page 2 was just not working. When I looked a little bit closer, it was because it didn't flow correctly with page 1 and 3. So I had 3 good-looking pages in my mind, but 3 good-looking pages doesn't always equal a good 3-page story. And so I had to do page 2 over again, and I came up with a new design that I liked, that had kind of that curvy feel, and led the eye of the reader through. So just a quick recap. When I'm working on a comics portfolio, first I start out with sketches, then I start out with rough thumbnails, then I start out with a final kind of thumbnail layout before I move on to the final pencils, which I'll be showing you guys as well. But today, that's all we're going to be going over. So my videos are going to be a lot more consistent lately since I have a project to share with you guys. I'm excited about this portfolio. I'm definitely going to finish this one. I had to scrap the others because I just wasn't as passionate about them. I mean, I really love Spider-Man, and so when I do a Spider-Man portfolio, I want to come up with something that I'm proud of. But this Mega Man story is something that I had a lot of fun writing, and I really think that it's a good portfolio piece, and so that's why I want to share it. Again, here's the first page that we focused on. Mega Man raising his Mega Buster and focusing on the snow in front of him. Then this is the final layout for page 1. So that's a little bit about my process of how I continue to go from sketching to thumbnail to final layout, and soon I will post the finished pencils. So I hope you guys had a good time watching. Stay strong for all the artists out there. Keep practicing. Keep watching. Hopefully I'm going to keep improving, and I promise to come out with some good content for you guys soon. Alright? Peace.